team total pair were now embroiled in a battle with Jean-Pierre Damso and Johan Klaassen in the Class A6 team total Toyota Corolla, and Cape crew Stefan van Dijk and Mark Pym, who are now second in Class N2. The Central Service Park in the Longmoor Forest, with Jan Habak and Douglas Judd still in a commanding lead. While service crew worked on the Sasol VW Golf on a wet, cold and windy morning, Habak was enjoying a cup of hot coffee, but still managed to look a little grim. Over at the Toyota service point, there was jollity among driver, navigator and team bosses, but that masked some serious concerns with service personnel hard at work on another gearbox change for the Damso Hodgson car.
Yes, we have a gearbox problem again, and we don't quite know what the cause of this problem is yet. We'll have to find that out next week when we strip these gearboxes. We haven't had any problems before, luckily, but yesterday and today has been a bad day for gearboxes, so we hope to fix that as soon as we get back. And I hope we get this one back in time for him not to lose any time to the next stage.
A field day for poster and autograph hunters, and veteran Hannes Krobler reflects on young talent coming to the fore in rallying.
Now there's some very, very good talent coming up, and I'm very impressed, and that's why I said, yeah, Group N is a good learning school probably for them, and that is why it's so good that we are there, you know. I mean, then they can compare times and compare it, and they learn and whatever, and I'm glad for them. I mean, there was a lot of saying previously that there's no up-and-coming young drivers, and I'll tell you what, navigators and drivers, they are there. They must just get the right chance.
The Longmoor Forests were again the battleground early on day 2 of the VW Rally, with 4 long special stages always likely to affect the balance of power. Conditions were not getting any better, but Jan Habak and Douglas Judd were gradually edging further away from those doing the chasing. Behind the Sasol VW Golf, Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley were hanging on to second place. But the team total pair were now under severe pressure from Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson. The dealer team crew took 25 seconds off the team total entry on the first 2 stages of the day and were piling on the pressure. There was also plenty of pressure for Class N2 leaders, Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper, in a team total Toyota Corolla that was sounding a little off song. Saunders and Hooper also lost ground on the first 2 stages of the day and were coming under siege from Stefan van Dijk and Mark Pym. Like Damso and Hodgson, the young Cape crew were on an early morning charge. Also starting to move into the Class N2 picture were Kobus Roos and Neil Faree, who had a disappointing day 1 in the SALive.com Toyota Corolla. Up at the central service point, Habak had decided the time had come for a change in tactics.
Got a problem?
Yeah, no, not really. It's just that I think it's getting wet enough now to start using wet tyres. So the traction wasn't very good in this stage, so we might have lost a bit of time, but it's not serious. We'll fix it soon.
For co-driver Cindy Harding in the second Sasol VW Golf, all was well.
So far the rally's going quite well for us. We're just taking it easy. Obviously we're trying to nurse the car, being an older car that everybody else has, but the roads are absolutely beautiful. We're hanging in behind Serge and Etienne. I'm just adding up the gaps now because there's only a 40 second gap between us and Serge. So it's very, if anybody has a puncture or any slight problem, it's very close between second, third and fourth. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on everybody.
For the kids, more posters and autographs at the Longmoor Central Service Point. But for service crew, it meant hard work in trying conditions, with a lot of work going on around the RCS Auto Toyota of Cape crew Kobus Edis and Derek Jacobs. There to provide support to a group of family and friends who'd made the long trip from Cape Town.
It's all friends, from a lawyer to you name it. And all the guys are doing it for the sake of the sport. And they love it.
This is one big happy family. The husbands help keep the car on the road, and the wives keep all the men on the road. You know, they keep us fed and look after us while we're on the rally. It's one big family.
Back on the rally route, Jan Habak and Doug Judd were now around 90 seconds clear of the fight going on for second place between the Toyota contingent. The dealer team pair of Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson were still hauling in championship leaders Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley, while stage 11 saw an over-enthusiastic Johnny Gamble and Errol Finnis give themselves a wake-up call. The pair still led Class A7, but in the next special stage were to fall by the wayside with a mechanical problem. Creeping towards the top 5 place and leading the Group N category and Class N3 by a healthy margin were Hannes Hrobler and Brian Duncan in the total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra. The spectacular Jacques Joubert and Darnie Smit still led Class S20, but no championship points were at stake for the Hroblersdal crew. Behind them, Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper were also a little over-enthusiastic, but their scrap with Stefan van Dijk and Mark Pym was to end on the next special stage when van Dijk and Pym crashed heavily. Further down the field, Kobus Edis and Derek Jacobs were still going well in the RCS Auto Toyota, while reigning champions Rodney Fasaki and Carolyn Swan had a tight hold on Class N1 in the Team Total Toyota Taz. The service area at the end of special stage 11 and more drama. Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley dropped a minute through a mysterious misfire, and that cost them second place.
Try to check those plugs and things, but I can't see anything there. This started to cut out 4Ks from the end. It's starting to misfire like that all the time. And there's no back brakes. Oh, I don't know what's wrong. We'll check now. There's something to do with this. I think a pipe might have burst down there, because as soon as I hit the brakes, it started fluttering again.
More drama was to follow, and 4 special stages from home, rally leaders Jan Habak and Douglas Judd dropped 3 minutes. The next special stage was at Willow Dam in Uitenhage, and it was clear that something serious was amiss under the bonnet of the Sasol VW Golf. Habak and Judd dropped another minute and plummeted down to 3rd place. Now into the lead were Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson, the dealer Team Toyota Corolla, and the whole complexion of the VW Millennium Rally had altered. Hannes Hrobler and Brian Duncan were still in a secure lead at the top of the Group N category and Class N3, but were being chased by Jean-Pierre Damso and Johan Claassen, and Saunders and Hooper were in total control of Class N2. The penultimate special stage at Aldo Scribanti and the end of the road for Habak and Judd. The Sasol VW Golf's motor finally gave up the ghost with a second retirement of the season, a massive blow to their championship hopes. At the end of the season, competitors are allowed to drop 1 score from their overall tally, and the 2 non-finishers now place Habak and Judd under enormous pressure in the 3 remaining events. All that was left was for Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson to put the finishing touches to their second win of the season in the dealer Team Toyota Corolla. The final special stage was at a wet and windswept Kings Beach, with Damso and Hodgson cruising around to complete a 1-2 triumph for Toyota. The factory pair finished 1 minute and 25 seconds ahead of Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley, with Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding salvaging some pride for Volkswagen with a gritty 3rd place in the Sasol VW Golf. That also gave them Class A8 honours, with another superb performance taking Hannes Hrobler and Brian Duncan into 4th overall. With it went Group N and Class N3 honours. Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper were 6th overall and won Class N2, with the Team Total Toyota Corolla still not sounding all that healthy. And finishing with a flourish were Jean-Pierre Damso and Johan Claassen. They were delighted with their first finish of the season, while VW Motorsport manager Johan Everter put on a brave face.
It's been a very disappointing event for us. We had an overheating problem the 3rd last stage, and then suddenly we had the engine problem in the 2nd last stage. So yet so close and yet so far. But we certainly will be back, and we will analyze the problem and rectify whatever is needed.
A triumph for Toyota in enemy territory, with 7 cars finishing in the top 10. There were also 3 class wins for Toyota, with 2 for Volkswagen and 1 for Nissan. The Toyota Cup was overflowing, and delighted winners Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson were not shy when it came to spraying around the champagne.
Well, a victory with a 1600 has always been very good, and amazing little car. What they go through and the hidings they get, but very surprised and very happy.
It was a very, very nice day for us today. We had a big dice nearly to the end until Van Dijk and them rolled their car. But all the other youngsters give us a good run for our money, and we're glad to be ahead of them and winning Group N overall here, and also 4th overall on the whole rally.
Those were the mud, sweat and gears of the VW Millennium Rally.